Our next speaker is Alistair Gould, and Alistair is the co-founder of the Carbon Free Group, a collaboration of professional group delivering effective low-level and zero-carbon solutions for the private and public sector organisations. Alistair is also chairman of the Bay Trust, and this building is the Bay Trust, and this garden around us is the Bay Trust. And I can't think of a better venue for any meeting at all than this beautiful building on a beautiful sunny day like today. Alistair even made sure that there were no planes flying over us as well, which is very... But Alistair was the, if you like, the innovator of all this. And it was his imagination which got this whole building off the ground and going. And I'm sure we'd all like to know his views on where we're going on the basis of his research so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Alistair Gould.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just curious to know what that sound is, but I haven't heard that sound before in this building. All right, okay. Tom, perhaps you could just have a word with Edmund on that. Okay, thanks. The loop. Yeah. I first of all just want to reflect on it's 3.5 years since Sir Crispin came and opened this building for us, and I'm thrilled that he's back here on just such an occasion that I hope he'd be back for. It was actually with that in mind that I reminded our team that we needed to make 1 or 2 changes, like our Oculus, which hadn't changed from the temporary one we had 3 years ago. So I used Sir Crispin as a very helpful impetus for that. Thank you. But what I also reflected in that 3.5 years is how much has changed, both locally within our village, but also in terms of some of the renewable energy solutions that I wouldn't have conceived were possible then, and which can actually give us good reason for optimism and hope. And I'm going to be addressing some of the local community opportunities that we have that have been progressed over the last particularly couple of years, which could equally be applicable within a number of our other communities and villages in Kent. I just want to check. Which one? The down one. Right, thank you. So first of all, I always refer to this quote, but it says it succinctly that you can never change things by fighting the current reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Well, we have the benefit a lot of built-in obsolescence with the existing model, and Sir Crispin adequately explained some of that obsolescence just now. And this trust is an environmental educational trust, if you like, exploring those new models from a sort of grassroots perspective, both from here and from Rippledown Environmental Education Centre that we have 3 miles down the road. So that's us. As regards to our village community, St Margaret's, well, as Sir Crispin has outlined, we do need to rethink the way we live our lives, and it's an opportunity for us at the grassroots to look at that. Now, aside of climate change or climate destabilisation, chunking things right back to a local community level, and these factors will be equally applicable amongst many local communities throughout this county and elsewhere in the UK. Then we have the challenges of peak oil, future water shortages. We have as touched on, the challenges here where we are the driest corner of this country, and the water availability per head in Kent is less than that per head in Cairo. Increasing waste management costs. We are within a matter of a few years beyond which we have no landfill available left in this county. Car congestion, the baby boomers all reaching retirement age, challenge of affordable housing generally in our communities, youth, specifics for the youth, employment opportunities, issues of population migration, and provision of our local services, post office, GP practice, schools and so on, and security concerns. All those issues which can destabilise a harmonious community. So what are we going to do? We have the option to do nothing. and we could wait for the government. And there are many fine gentlemen and ladies working with the government, and I commend Crispin for the great work he's doing there, but we obviously don't take those issues completely seriously, certainly from a perspective of, if you like, Protect Kent and CPRE. We will work with the government, but it's also about taking responsibility ourselves. So what are some of the goals that we can look at for our own little community here? And again, you could mirror these out to communities across our county. Well, it's about taking responsibility, as I said. So we could become self-sufficient in energy, waste management, water, reduce our emissions as a community, possibly to zero and beyond, develop, obviously, a thriving local economy through the measurements beyond GDP and GMP and real health, if you like. Maximise our food production from our local areas of land, generally upskill ourselves, and key of educating ourselves and our children in particular to healthy, sustainable living. And here, and hopefully many other villages in Kent, it's about maintaining the beauty and peace and tranquility here, which is very much at the heart of what Protect Kent CPRE are about, of course. And ultimately, secure, happy, healthy, well-balanced community. Well, of course, that's what we all want and strive for. So coming into where we can actually see this step-by-step occurring in this village community, then we've worked with sort of 7 core themes of sustainability. And in fact, these are the 7 themes that you will see in the leaflet on your chair, which references this building as well, of energy, biodiversity, shelter, food, water, waste, and transport. And so together with a number of other groups, and I'll cover this on a slide to follow, we've been looking in this community about how we can, what sort of targets we could sensibly look at. Now, I'm not going to cover all the other aspects there of wastewater and food and biodiversity and so on. We're just going to focus on energy because that's our subject today. But safe to say that there is a sort of a slowly emerging robust framework for addressing these other issues, because clearly we can't address energy in isolation. We have to look at things holistically. So what's occurred here in the village is some 2 years ago now, Kent County Council came to the parish council of this village to indicate that they were looking at St Margaret's, along with 5 other villages in the county of Kent, becoming a designated low-carbon village. So, backed by, I would observe, vigorous female leadership of the parish council, this was greeted with gusto and enthusiasm, and so Brenda Poor, the chair of the parish council, set a meeting, public meeting, for people to engage with the issues, set up groups, or offered the opportunity for the community to set up groups on those 7 themes I just mentioned. The key group that's moved forward with some energy is the energy group. And so out of that, as described there, again with some support from Kent County Council and the members' grant and the parish council themselves, we were able to, as a community, fund an analysis of how this village might look at actually delivering all the energy from its own resources renewably. And so this was an assessment done, undertaken by my colleague there, Jay Mather, who many of you will be aware of, because he was at your conference here last year in Tunbridge Wells. So the basic 3 steps which we need to take in any sensible assessment of energy, being to obviously know what you're measuring to begin with,